Amen. Glory be to God. Amen. Today, church, we are on lesson 8, July 20th, 2025. Our topic today is humility before God. Humility before God. Lesson text, James 4, 1 through 10 and 13 through 17. Time about 80:45, place from Jerusalem. Golden text illuminated. And it reads, God resists the proud, but gives grace unto the humble. God resists the proud, but gives grace unto the humble. James 4, 6. This verse warns us that pride can cause God to oppose us. Therefore, church, we cannot be prideful. Because when we become prideful, we become opposed or at odds with God. Amen? See, we tend not to think of pride as a serious sin. It's the sort of respectable sin. Amen? We don't really see pride as being bad. It's not really like stealing and killing. It's a respectable sin. So we easily dismiss it. And we can tolerate it in small doses, D. Tolerate a little bit of pride. You got a little bit of pride, we can tolerate that. You tend to easily dismiss pride, amen? But why does God dislike pride? Why does God oppose pride so much, amen? Here are two possible explanations to consider. First, understand that every gift and talent you have comes from God, eh? This is why God opposes pride. Nothing that we're able to do or have is from us. It's all from Him. So how can we, who's not able to do anything, be prideful? Amen? We're not able to do anything on our own. How can we be prideful? Every gift and talent we have comes from God. He has given it to us as a gift. Amen? So whenever we are proud, it shows that we are ungrateful of the gifts He has given us. Amen? That's why we cannot be proud or proud. Amen? Consider also the second explanation. God gives us grace upon grace in an infinite, inexhaustible abundance. So, see, in our natural earthly lives, we don't know nothing about infinite, abundant, inexhaustible supply. We don't have an infinite, abundant, inexhaustible supply of anything. Except for maybe air. Right? You breathe all the air you want, can't you, Nick? Can't you breathe more air than you need? They ain't limited that yet, have they say you get too pessimistic. Yeah, I ain't ready for that, all right? When they start charging for air, you in trouble. Right? I'm already charging for water. We don't know nothing about an infinite, inexhaustible abundance. God knows all about it because that's who God is. He's infinite. He has an inexhaustible abundance. That means He has a supply that will never run out. You wouldn't believe it. If we are humble, we ask Him for grace, He will freely shower it upon us. But if we're proud and we think we don't need His help, then He simply may not give it to us. So that we do or can fall. Amen? Sometimes you need to fall so you can learn to appreciate God. So you can learn to appreciate that God is holding your hand, helping you stand up. Amen? That we are not standing on our own. Amen? Glory to His name. What does humility look like? There are many forms it can take. Verses 7 through 12 provide us with some examples of humility before God. We'll seek to obey His commands. We will trust that He knows what is best for our lives. And we will try to live the way that He commands. What is humility? That's to obey God, to obey His commands. That's to trust that God knows what's best for us. And that's for us to try to live the way he commands us to live. Are y'all still with me? Humility is not our natural inclination. That's not something that we naturally do. We don't naturally humble ourselves. We're naturally prideful, not naturally humble. Amen? We sinfully tend to think that we are in control of our lives and not God. The church, I moved awakening for you. You're not in control. God is. Amen? Glory to his name. You're not in control. God is in control. Amen? Glory be to God. God is good. Y'all still with me? See, when we tend to think we're in control, that's us being proud. We think that we got it, we're able to do it. But we must humble ourselves. And we need to consciously and intentionally humble ourselves before God. We need to ask for God's grace. And when we do, he is happy to pour it out upon us. But if we arrogantly think that we don't need his help, then he just may not give it to us. Amen? Y'all still with me? Prepare to teach the lesson. Today's aim, facts, to show that humility is important. It's important to remain humble. First, we'll teach that God blesses people who are humble. He despises those who are prideful, but he blesses those who are humble. Application: to urge us to humble ourselves before the Lord. Amen? We have to learn to humble ourselves before the Lord. Introducing the lesson. We are called to be embodiments of humility, just as Jesus was on this earth. And when we're humble, we can receive this blessing. Amen? Then start us off in James chapter 4, verse 1. Amen? Start us off with verse 1 and 2, please.
From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence even of your lust that war in your members? Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain, ye fight and war. Yet ye have not because ye ask not.
Amen. So, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but do not have. So what do? You kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want. So what do? You quarrel and fight. But church, you do not have because you do not ask God. That's the reason why you don't have. Amen? Church, we must learn to shun the world. Wars and fightings. The reference to wars and fighting should not be understood in the sense of literal combat. No. Rather, James had in mind these conflicts that sometimes arise among believers. How many of y'all know that as believers we still can have conflict? You with me, Nick? Sadly, some churches are notorious for their wars and fightings. This discredits the cause of Christ before the world. It makes it more difficult to evangelize those who are lost. Since this follows James' words about the tongue, it is likely that the weapons of these fights were not physical, but rather the harmful words of individuals within the church. Are y'all still with me? The origin of these conflicts said, James, is the lust that war in your members. The word translated lust is elsewhere rendered pleasures. So it pleases you